Yeah. So, and if I share with you the text, and I will show you those really important passages or places where we see, of course, this is the, I think last time we finished with scene 2 or scene 1. I'm not sure. Maybe here, I think in this scene, as I said, she met so many other examples or sides of life when she was always, emphasizing that she is a natural woman. She is not a barren woman. She is a normal woman. And she wants to be real and normal to have a baby. And I think, as I said, I don't blame her. Really, I don't blame her. After 5 years of marriage, I think she really deserves, this, if you like, if it's kind of achievement, yeah, I think she deserves it. Anyway, the idea is, again, she gets more examples of other ladies and other girls, the first girl, second girl, and so on, to see, again, I think I read this to you before. The whole idea really here, again, is when she was always, by all sides of society, she was always led to the same conclusion, that I want a baby. I want this child. And as I said, she couldn't make her husband completely understand that, because I think, to me, Juan was a funny man in so many ways. Mostly he was selfish, completely selfish, of not paying any attention to his wife's feelings and urges. He could never understand a woman's feeling. And I think that's a disaster. If you don't know what your wife, is not off, what she wants or what she likes, and you want to do something for her, I think the whole marriage is meaningless, absolutely meaningless, because, Juan here could never understand and would never appreciate what she is doing and what she's asking for. And as I said, because there was a lot of lack of respect, a lack of, I think, trust, when he brought his sister to spy on her. And she was really very angry about that, as if he does not trust her, and this is really crazy and very bad, really, in a way. Now, again, you can see in Act 2, again, more and more examples of other people. You can see here the washerwomen and the gossiping here, the side of here, society always, people always do that. And you can never stop people talking and gossiping. And you can see here the idea of, they are gossiping about her, not having a baby. You're saying what's wrong with her and what's happening and so on. As if again, Juan thought that people are gossiping about his wife being, so crazy about having a child, and maybe going out, maybe once, maybe they spotted her, maybe talking to Juan on the road, just for a minute or something, and and he said, people are, talking about you and gossiping. Again, she was seen always, if you like, crazy, asking other older women, other people to check how she can get, of course, the child. And really, sometimes, as I said, we really feel sorry for her. But I'm saying, to me, I think she was absolutely normal. She was really natural and normal. I'm saying this, I don't know. I mean, this is my feeling. I don't say this because I'm a man or from a male perspective. I think I understand her. I understand her urges. And the thing is, as I say, when you are married, you should understand your wife, and you should accept your wife, whether she's you should get exactly the reality of things. And here Juan is very strange in this way, and I really don't like him because he never really cared for her, and he said, I love you, and what do you want more, and so on. But you see, really, that's not marriage to her. It's more than that. So here, these examples in this act, you can see these women, washerwomen, talking and gossiping about her. I'm not going to read all this because really it's it's okay to know what it is maybe saying here. Notice here, talking here, the women listening mentioning about Victor and the two sisters, the two sisters-in-law, they were sitting and maybe, as you see, maybe spying, we said, spying. They were really spying on her. Of course, as they said, the idea is, again, to her was really terrible. Notice the Victor singing, if you like, they say, the sisters-in-law sit up and look at one another, quietly singing, Victor singing, I'll wash your fine ribbons in the chill water. Like glowing jasmine, you are filled with laughter. I'd like to live in the jasmine's white snowfall. Remember, of course, the idea to say, remember originally she said to him, Yerma said she was making these for one of her friends, baby child, which is coming on the way, and she was saying, do this with ribbons and all that. And the smell of jasmine, because she used the word jasmine, the smell of pleasure, the smell of love, the smell of babies. And, the reference here to say that I would like to live, because really to her, living means to have a child and to really love her children and so on. Again, look at the purity and the innocence, because again, the irony here is Victor who is singing this. Victor's voice, he's saying this. Again, notice again, but alas, for a wife's barrenness. So notice here what they say. The women and society, they believe that she was barren. And they say, what a shame, And again, I think this is, if you like, really bad, because society always, in this sense, well, in most cases, I shouldn't say maybe always, but in most cases, the classification of society and this stigmatization is terrible. They think here that she is barren, and notice again what this woman said. Alas for a wife's barrenness, alas for the one with sand at her breast. Sand? Normally, a woman's body, you can never describe a woman's body with having sand on her breast. I think this is very emotional, because remember, this is women's talk and women's language, and the way they talk about this. And notice again the associations and the allegory and the symbolism. The other woman said, say if your man has the true seed. Look at this, the true seed. And in Saudi, it's funny, they use the same word to mean children. They use the word seed, al-bizr, and they say al-buzura. Al-buzura means children, which is really funny. Absolutely, I was surprised to know this in Saudi. They use the same word. Even in Syria, sometimes we say this, about, we want to say something like Al-Bizra means, this name of family or this, and again, look at the meaning here. Say if your man has the true seed, that through your dress the stream may run free. Look at this amazing, symbolism here. Of course, they're talking here about, the seed and your dress. And again, the stream may run free. If you want to look at this in terms of, any symbolism, or even in terms of sexuality, really, you can understand that in a very, if you like, strange and amazing way. Again, notice what the other woman said. Your dress is a boat of silver. Look at that. Your dress is a boat of silver and air sailing the shore. Wow. And you can see how this, again, because these people were washing their clothes in the river, in the old days. And I think I lived this my life myself. When I was a child, there was no washing machines. Wives would go to the river and they wash their kids and their babies and clothes, everything, alongside the rivers, and they boil water. Honestly, this was amazing. And these women, they were doing that here. My child's clothes, no, look at this. My child's clothes now, I wash in the river. I wash in the river, teaching the water its lessons of crystal. Wow. You teach the water to be clean? How can you imagine comparing the purity and the innocence and the love of the children, that if you wash your child's clothes in the river will become sacred? Unbelievable, isn't it? Really, this is lovely. As I said, I think Lorca, ladies and gentlemen, Lorca really here is a great poet, really, because Lorca was a poet as well as a dramatist, and he was an amazing man, actually. Just last week or 2 weeks before, one of the professors in the Arabic department, I think he gave a talk about Lorca's influence to Arabic poetry, which was really really amazing. Look again what the idea. It says, from the mountain he comes, my husband. Look again, this another washerwoman, second washer, third washer. As I said, this is like Sa'dallah wa Nus's play, when he uses these, first man, second man, third man, fourth man, again to mean the allegorical and symbolical. From the mountain he comes, my husband, to eat. He brings me 1 rose, and I yield him 3. Look at that. When you come home, boys and girls, no, I'm talking to boys here. My boys, listen to me. When you are married, bring your wife roses most of the time. They would love you. Truly, you should do that most of the time. If you can't find chicken or meat to bring home, bring a rose, and your wife will be happy. So really, this is absolutely the idea. Notice here the romanticism. My husband comes from the mountains, he said, to eat. He brings me 1 rose, and I yield him 3. I give him 3 instead. I totally, surrender myself, my life, everything I'll give him. I mean, come on, man, what do we want more? Huh? Yeah. So really, this is the idea. Again, another one, she said, from the meadows he comes, my husband. To dinner He brings me live coals that with myrtle I cover. Myrtle, look at this, myrtle, you know? And notice here again the symbolism and the poetry. With the breeze, notice meadows, mountains. In the next one, she said, with the breeze he comes. Look how they romanticize about their husbands. All of these women are absolutely infatuated with their husbands. Look what she said, this fourth woman said, with the breeze he comes, my husband, to sleep. Red, red wallflowers for him. Red wallflowers for him. Red wallflowers for me. Well, you can read all that and you can see. It's very lovely, absolutely lovely. Again, look at sometimes some of this, look at the other woman said, and wombs be opened to sleepless birds. Wombs be opened to sleepless birds when winter comes shivering through the firs. You know, this is absolutely poetry. I mean, I can't read all this to you, girls and boys, because really it's lovely, absolutely lovely, and it's full of symbolism. And we understand this is how real wives, real women think and feel. You know, that's natural. That is natural. And another one, she said, when our husband brings us the garland, the bread, the garland, you know, like thrones or, you know, this wreath of myrtle. And as she said, you know, like laurel. I think, you know, again, she said, because bodies entwine. Look at the verb here, entwine, you know, to become like twin, and are wed. You know, yeah, it's really lovely. And this is I'm just giving you this idea here, really, to show you, you know, how women naturally feel. And we understand that. You know, this is it. This is natural. So we don't blame Yerma. We don't blame Yerma. I don't blame her completely. I don't blame her. As I said, she commits her crime, if you call it a crime. She killed her man unintentionally, and she snapped her mind. We say, you know, snapped. And, you know, like we say in Arabic, I think this is very funny. We say this in Arabic, you know, her fuses are exploded, if you like. You know, sometimes we say, you know, her mind snapped. You know, this is the idea. And sometimes when you just suddenly go mad, and, you know, all laws, maybe, if you like, minimize the punishment when they know that somebody did something out of absolute rash or absolute of, you know, something like that. And I think in this way, I understand, and I really understand what went on. You know, as I said, I can't read all that for you, but I will move on to the next section here. Again, here you can see in this in Act 2, Scene 2, Juan is getting crazy again. Another example how he was trying to tell his wife that you are going out and people are talking and people are watching and people, etc. And he's talking about his, you know, he brought his sisters to watch over her, and as I said, to spy, really to spy on her. And as we know, she, I mean, Yerma completely did nothing. She has done nothing. To me, I think, and I think it's clear in the play, she did nothing. Notice what he said in a funny way, really. In a way we understand, but his ideas are really, you know, to us and to her, really is not acceptable. Notice what he said. I had a hard day yesterday. I was pruning the apple trees, and as evening fell, I began to wonder why I put so much effort into my work when I can't even raise an apple to my mouth. I am tired. What? He's working days and nights in his field, and he said, I can't eat an apple. Why? What are you doing there in the fields then? I am tired. He passes his hand over his face. She is not coming. One of you should have gone with her. That's why you are here eating my table and drinking my wine. Look at this. What a man would say this to his sisters, as if to say, you are here and you are eating my food, and I brought you to watch my wife. Wow, what a man. What a man. What a brother even. Really. This is really amazing when he's saying, you are here eating my table and drinking my wine. My wife is in the fields. Sorry, my life is in the fields, but my honor is here. And my honor is your honor too. The sister bows her head. Don't take that amiss. Yerma enters carrying two pitchers she holds in the doorway. Have you been to the spring, Yerma, to fetch fresh water for the meal? How was it in the fields? Yesterday I pruned 3 trees. Yerma puts the pitcher's paws. Are you staying? I have to guard the flock. You know, it's the owner's duty. I know it too well. You needn't repeat it. Every man has to lead his life, and every woman hers. I'm not asking you to stay. I have everything I need here. Your sisters look after me well. I eat roast lamb, soft bread, and cheese here. And on the hillsides, your cattle eat grass drenched with the dew. I'd have thought you would be able to live peacefully. Yerma here is absolutely ironical. She hates him. She hates what she's eating. She's ironical, completely ironical. And she doesn't say really what she means. She's saying to him, I'm miserable here, and you're outside, and you're talking about life, and so on. Anyway, again here, she started to tell him, and on and on and on, as I said, you know, really important things about, as I said, what she was doing and all that. As I said, really, I can't really, if you like, read everything, but the idea about honor and name and all this is quite interesting, because Juan is saying, as if to say, again, you know, that be careful about doing anything against my name and my reputation and all this. And I think this is really very strong and amazing. Notice again what here Yerma, all the time when she wants to say something, she said it, or she makes it in well, through her singing and through her poetry. And I think, you know, this poem here, I think is lovely, really. She, you know, compares her views and her real tragedy really here in this. Please read that, and I'm sure you have read it. Please look at it here. It's really lovely. Again, as I said, it symbolizes what she really is, if you like, in so many ways. And again, I don't know really. Because the time is running quickly, and I really want to move on. And here, the last section, if you like, when finally Victor came to say goodbye because he was leaving. He was leaving the town to some other place, again to symbolize, again, really Victor's innocence and natural behavior in any way. Again, when he, I think he showed his real friendship to the family, meaning to Yerma and her husband. And I think this is very emotional. I'm sure you, again, I would like you really, as I said, to understand and read all this, because really I can't read that, all of you. I mean, all of it to you. The last act, as you can see here, is more dramatic because, again, here, the last section, when Yerma was trying another way to see how she can be, pregnant and have a baby, again, in the same way. And this woman, Dolores, told her so many funny things and strange things. And, she said, she took her to a place where she can be, if you like a shrine, when you maybe try one of those medical things, some kind of, I think it is not medicine, but it's like magic maybe, or like maybe sorcery, something like sorcery, really. It's not even this magic thing is unbelievable sometimes. Again, if you like, the way this woman here, Dolores, again talks to her in a very sort of strange way. Again, as I said, women's talk about how she should behave and so on. And, Yarma even was shocked by, in a way, by what she was saying, and she wouldn't accept what she was saying. Even she suggested to her to find another man, to have illegal relationship or to have extramarital relationship, and so on. But of course, Yerma would never do that. And she said it, of course, this is impossible. And I think she said that here in many ways. Well, I don't know, really. I can't read all this today for you because it's really amazing, some of those passages. I'm sure you should read all that because it's very important. And in the exam, as I told you, in the exam, of course, the text will be with you. In the exam, I will get you something, of course, as a passage to comment on or to discuss, okay? And as I said, at the end of the day, the end of this, when, unintentionally she went crazy and, killed her man without really knowing, if you like. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want any question, I will answer your questions easily. Okay. Yeah, here you can see the idea is important to see how this is done. Here, for example, when she was saying to her to find extra marital relationship, and Diyarma, she said, this is unbelievable, and she could never do that. She said, I would never, do that. Of course, as I said, this is amazing. Notice what she said. Baron, yes, I know that, Baron. You don't need to hurl it in my face. Don't come again. I'm sure she's saying this in anger, but we know that she was not barren. What she said here at the end of the day, when she was saying here, the last section, when she said to him, notice here, she said, that's it, rising to her knees desperately. That's it. That's it. That's what I wanted to hear from your mouth. Truth is not felt when it's inside oneself, but how vast it is, how loud it cries when it emerges and raises its arms. It's not here. Again, this really, does not matter. Now I've heard you. Because originally he told her, he said, I don't care about children. I don't want children and so on. He said, do you hear? He said that before. That's what I had to say to you. What matters to me is what I can hold in my hands, what I can see with my eyes. Again, I think his ideas are not acceptable in any way. And I don't think he's natural. I think he's mad in many ways. Notice what he said. Think that's to be so. Listen to me. He embraces her to help her rise. Many women would be happy to live your life. Life is sweeter without children. Life is sweeter without children. I am happy without them. It's not your fault. Oh, wallahi, Rijal, mashallah alayk, huh? Isn't it? The idea really is funny. I think he's to me, I think he's strange. I'm not going to say he's sick, but I think he could be sick to say that. And notice what she said. What did you seek in me then? What do you want exactly from me then? Yourself. Yerma, that's it. You wanted a home, tranquility, and a woman, but nothing more. Is that true? Juan, it's true, as everyone else does. And the rest? Your son? Didn't you hear? It doesn't matter. Don't ask me again. Do I have to shout in your ear so you can understand to live peacefully for once? Rijal Abadai, isn't it? And you have never, look at Yarma, and you have never thought about it even when you could see I wanted one. You do this for me because I wanted. If you love me, you do one thing for me. You crazy? Are you a man? Huh? I will do, come on. I will do everything. Everything. She said, I can do. I've done all this to you, for you. Khwa said, never. They both rise in the ground. And I am not, look at Yerma, and I am not to hope for one. So I'm not going to dream even for a baby. No. Nor you, nor I. Likewise, resign yourself. Resign. ريحي حالك يا حرمة. اخرسي يا حرمة. That's it. Come on. Resign. And look what she said. Barren. Barren. I'm not barren. Again, what he said, but living peacefully, both of us, in gentleness and friendship. Embrace me. What? Embrace me. He embraces her. What do you want? I want you. In the moonlight, you are beautiful. You want me as if you were wanting a pigeon to eat. You want to eat a pigeon. Wow. Juan, kiss me like this. Kiss me. Yerma, that never, never. Yerma gives a cry and grasps her husband by the throat. He falls backward. She chokes him until he's dead. The choir of pilgrims starts up. Barren, barren, and I am certain at last. Now I know for certain and alone. I will sleep without waking with a start to see if my blood announces new blood. My blood announces new blood with a body barren forever. What do you want? Don't come near me because I have murdered my child. I have killed my own son. Yeah, that's it. I've killed my son. As I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is, maybe you think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. Because really, I think this is a very tragic situation. She did it in, as you can see, in real anger and unreal, of course, if you like, total disbelief. Total disbelief. And I think this is interesting, absolutely interesting to see what she has done here. Okay, any question, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, any question about Yarma? Boys, girls, are you there?
We're here.
Yeah. Hi, Wafa.
I don't have any question. But
Yeah. What do you think?
I have
Is she crazy or what do you think?
What? Is he crazy?
Is she crazy?
Is she? Well, we can't justify her. We can't justify the action, but we can't justify her craziness if she's crazy. If we decide that she's crazy, we can't justify that, but not the killing itself. So
Yeah,
yeah.
very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Okay, so yeah, if you don't have any question, then I'll move on to the last piece. We will have, I mean, maybe this week and next week. Week 15, I'm not going to give you anything. We'll leave it for discussion and things like that. So the next text really is quite interesting to some extent. Really, it's to do with what we call. Let me show you. The example we have, the last example, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is a typical example of what we call really absurd absurd literature. It's 20th century, again, another 20th century amazing text by Albert Camus. Albert Camus, a Frenchman, and he, he was really one of the masters of what we call the absurd theater, especially with what happened in English. Sorry. Albert Camus, as I said, is very well known really as a dramatist, as a really strong playwright who was, I think, one of the key founders of what, as I say, really the absurd. Most of his writings, not just drama, but his fiction. And this is a novel called The Stranger. The Stranger. And remember Albert Camus, I don't know if there's no, there's no introduction here in this text, no introduction. But I'm just saying this to you just for a little, let me show you here to share. Really, Camus is a typical example of, as I said, the absurd literature. Mainly here it's fiction, and the absurd, or the theater of the absurd. If you have studied, I'm sure you have, modern drama. If you have studied maybe Samuel Beckett in English, Samuel Beckett, originally the great Irishman. Who really practiced a lot of this in English language, or in English, if you like, literature. He was a typical, absolutely strong example of 20th century, early and even mid-century, because I think he started writing, even from the 50s. 60s, and I think Beckett lived quite maybe I'm not sure exactly when he died, but he could be till towards the 1990s. And really Beckett, especially his best play was called Waiting for Godot. And Waiting for Godot, is, because when you say what is the absurd, something absurd really means something meaningless, something absolutely meaningless, or something you can't understand, something which is very strange, and something weird, and something crazy, something empty, something nihilistic, like when you say nihilism, or this samelessness or nothingness, and all that. And sometimes when you don't understand something, and even if it's very serious, even if it's very tragic, like this man here we have, Juan, to some extent in Yerma, he was, in a sense, he was absurd, because we couldn't understand him. We really couldn't understand him. So even the word, when you see absurdism, again, because originally Albert Camus really wrote a great other text called the myth of Sisyphus. The myth of Sisyphus. And Sisyphus was, in Greek mythology, the man, it's really a text written against people who commit suicide. because committing suicide is terrible and is horrible and is bad and is prohibited in all religions. So the punishment in hell for those killers who kill themselves, who commit suicide, the punishment is to have a massive stone, a big stone, and you have to roll up this stone from the valley and up and up and up and up, and before reaching the top of the mountain, the stone will go back, and then you have to push it again and again, and before reaching the top, and then it will roll down back again, and you will have to push it up again and again, permanently. خالدا مخلدا فيها أبدا. You know, and this is it, the punishment. And this text is written by Camus. It's called, he wrote it really, it's a huge text and very influential text. It is called, as I said, the myth of Sisyphus, because the name of the character, Sisyphus. Please try to Google the name and check it online, and you will find really a lot of explanations on that. But Camus really made it very famous in his own way, the way he wrote it, really in a lovely way. Actually, I wanted to give you the text just for your information, but I said I think you can find it online. I think easy. Just write the myth of Sisyphus, and you'll find it quickly. Now, this novel here is absolutely the same thing. It's about the absurd. Somebody here in this novel, Merceau, the character, the main character, it's a French, remember this is a French novel, it's a French example. And here, world literature, we say world text to me is a French example. And Camus originally was born in Algeria, believe it or not. Originally, he was born in Algeria to French parents when Algeria was, under the mandate of the French, if you like, mandatory. So Camus gave in this novel, he called it The Stranger, and it's translated into Arabic by so many people. They call it Al-Gharib. They translated it as Al-Gharib. And I think it's an amazing text. Now, the novel really is about a man's situation, his own situation, who is punished for some reason, because at the end of the day he killed somebody, again unintentionally, or here I think the crime was more intentional because he shot him by the shotgun, so he knew what he was doing, shooting. It's similar to Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment, but it's not exactly the same. It's maybe less, if you like, I'm not sure if I can say, less evil. I don't know, but it could be. But you see, the punishment for Merceau, because this is his name in the novel, the main character here is Merceau. And this man, originally we know him, that he was hated because people felt he's strange, because he couldn't cry when his mother died, and he came to attend the funeral of his mother. Normally people, when you don't cry, even if you're a man, most people, if I don't say all people, cry when their mothers die. Maybe the only person would be more emotional when you lose your mom. And I think this is here. Merceau couldn't cry. And many people said he was punished, he was sentenced to death, And one of the examples of evidence, because they were looking for evidence to say how he was a criminal, whether he was or was not a criminal, and they brought the testimony saying, yeah, he's a bad man because he couldn't cry for his mother. It means he is heartless, he's emotional, or he has no feelings, he's not a human, blah, 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 blah. I mean, he said, come on, how can you sentence someone to death when you only say, well, because he couldn't cry, you know? Anyway, the question of absurdism, the question of the absurd is related to this, that he's a strange man, funny man. And the term, the title stranger is a Frenchman in Algeria, because the events happened in Algiers, you know, in the capital of Algeria today. And the crime, there was a crime, because he shot one man on the beach, you know, unintentionally, you know, originally unintentionally, but he did, and it was really terrible. So that's why we say a stranger in both, maybe in the place and in the nature and in the act itself, and in so many ways we say that he was, yes, absolutely stranger and crazy in every perspective. So really this is the idea here. Again, if I show you examples of this, you know, when we start reading the novel in part one, I'll give you, don't worry, I'll give you three or maybe 3 or 4, you know, chapters or sections, and I will highlight those ideas or those parts for you to see really how the novel is done. But you can see the narrative is very nice. Remember, this is translation. This is translation from French to English, of course. As you can see here, the title, it says translated, as you can see, translated from the French by Stuart Gilbert. But as I say, really, this translation is fantastic and it's lovely, I think. And it's, you know, very well known, really, translation to English. And the idea really is quite interesting and lovely to see here the narrative done in a funny way. Notice the narrator and speaker and character. This story, this novel is narrated by the first person character narrator, first person narrator character. He is a narrator and character at the same time, and the way he speaks sometimes is funny, and sometimes you find the narrator again, there was some kind of exchange. Sometimes you have third person narration, and this mixture is again to do with the 20th century kind of literature. Mother died today. I mean, look at the sentences again, the sometimes scientific, naturalistic, you know, sometimes, you know, maybe no emotions expressed, no feelings expressed in a real sense, you know? Notice, or maybe yesterday, I can't be sure. The telegram from the home says, your mother passed away, funeral tomorrow, deep sympathy, which leaves the matter doubtful. It could have been yesterday. Now, notice this narration, of course, this is, remember, is done like that, really to emphasize the if you like, the absurd style, really the absurd style. So notice, as I say, the shorter sentences, very short sentences, and again, really to some extent the really carelessness here of what he's saying, you know, when he's just saying mother died, without really showing, if you like, I want to see if I can highlight that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Really, you can see here, as I said, maybe the emotionless situation, the heartless, the scientific, the distant, as if to say, you know, he's talking about a stranger. Mother died today, maybe yesterday, you know. The home, of course, the word home, you know, it's the place where his mother was. The home for the aged persons is at Marengo, some 50 years from Algiers. You know, this is the place, as I said, it's in Algeria, you know, he's giving us the details where his mother was, or of course the whole place and the locale and the setting is in Algeria, in Algiers, the city of Algiers. With the 2 o'clock bus, I should get there well before midnight or nightfall. Then I can spend the night there, keeping the usual vigil beside the body, and be back here by tomorrow evening. I have fixed up with my employer for 2 days leave. Obviously, under the circumstances, he couldn't refuse. Still, I had an idea he looked annoyed, but I said, without thinking, sorry, sir, but it's not my fault, you know. Yeah, because, you know, you can see here the idea that, you know, again, I think there's, yeah, I don't know, I mean, if you agree with me, but you can see here, as I said, I'm saying here, emotionless, you know, the way he is responding, maybe. But again, I think this is the style of the, you know, maybe naturalistic, or maybe scientific, or maybe heartless, or whatever feelings that you can think of. And really, this is sorry. The idea I'm saying here, notice the narrative again, as if the character here has no mood to even to speak anything or to say anything or to express, you know, at least some of his feelings. Notice he said, afterwards it struck me I needn't have said that. I had no reason to excuse myself. It was up to him to express his sympathy and so forth. Probably he will do so the day after tomorrow, when he sees me in black. For the present, it's almost as if mother weren't really dead. The funeral will bring it home to me, put an official seal on it, so to speak. It, again, notice the way he goes on to tell us how he's going to go to attend his mother's funeral. I took the 2 o'clock bus. It was a blazing hot afternoon, I had lunched. I had lunched as usual at Celeste's restaurant. Everyone was most kind, and Celeste said to me, "There is no one like another. Sorry, there is no one like a mother." Yeah, sometimes we say that. I think we always say that. Yeah, there's nobody, there's nothing. There's no one like a mother. When I felt they came with me to the door, it was something of a rush, getting away. As at the last moment, I had to call in at Emmanuel's place to borrow his black tie and mourning band. He lost his uncle a few months ago. So notice here his friend Emmanuel, and you know, he wanted to borrow his black tie because he needs something in black, of course, to refer to كمان أنا شو So notice here, as I said, you know, the narrative, the way, as I say, the easy, small, abrupt, short, the language, the precise, as I say, to some extent, you know, you don't see real emotion, if you like. I had to run to catch the bus. I suppose it was my hurrying like that, with the glare off the road and from the sky, the reek of gasoline and the jolts that made me feel so drowsy. Anyhow, I slept most of the way. When I awoke, I was leaning against a soldier. He grinned and asked me if I had come from a long way off, and I just nodded. To cut things short, I wasn't in the mood for talking. Again, notice, I think the idea here, you know, to be brief. Again, notice, as I said to you, really, that he's not in the mood to tell us anything. As I said, this is very sort of really funny language, if you like. And here he describes to us the home. Notice, the home is a little over a mile from the village. I went there on foot. I asked to be allowed to see mother at once, but the doorkeeper told me I must see the warden first. He wasn't free, and I had to wait a bit. The doorkeeper chatted with me while I waited. Then he led me to the office. The warden was a very small man with gray hair and a Legion of Honor rosette in his buttonhole. He gave me a long look with his watery blue eyes. Then we shook hands, and he held me so long that I began to feel embarrassed. After that, he consulted a register on his table and said, Madame Merceau entered the home 3 years ago. So this is his mother, and this is his name, Merceau. Madame Merceau entered the home, and notice here, even this man, this man himself feels sad, even maybe you can say, even sadder than him. This man who works in the home feels sad for his mother. I mean, for Merceau's mother, for his mother. He shows feelings more than the son himself. That's why when he said, he held my hand for long. He shook hands and he held mine so long that I began to feel embarrassed, because he felt you know, he wanted to show feelings. Whereas Merceau himself is careless. Madame Merceau entered the house 3 years ago. She had no private means and depended entirely on you. Yeah, I think here you know, he's repeating what he said, and as if to say, you are not a good son. You didn't come to see your mom. I had a feeling he was blaming me for something and started to explain, but he cut me short. Yeah, you see? So by saying this to him, you know, saying, come on, man, you hardly ever came to see your mother. Come on, what a man you are, what a son you are. Again, notice what he said. There's no need to excuse yourself, my boy. I have looked up the record, and obviously you were not in a position to see that she was properly cared for. She needed someone to be with her all the time. And young men in jobs like yours don't get too much pay. In any case, she was much happier in the home. Really, the man here is, to be honest, I think the man here was trying to give him some excuses, only to be kind to him now because he lost his mother. But really, he wanted to say to him, you are a terrible man. You never came to your mother and you never cared for her. And the man here really doesn't understand how. You put your mom in a home and you never come, homes for the elderly. People in Europe, and I think in many countries, people, when they get old, sometimes if they don't have, children to care for them, they put them in homes. And here he's saying, at least come on, you should come and visit your mother. And, as if to say, well, now she's dead. Maybe you were, maybe happy to have got rid of the whole thing. And you can see, I think here, when he's saying here, yeah, I said, yes, sir, I am sure of that. Then he added, she had good friends here, old folks like herself. And one gets one better with people of one's own generation. You are much too young. You could have been much of a companion to her. Again, I think I'm saying here, this man is not honestly saying what he thinks. He's giving him excuses, but he doesn't really believe that. He is showing him here his double-faced language. He's saying, you are a bad boy, you never came here. Yeah, she had friends and so on, but that's not really the idea. The idea, he said, you never came. You never came to see your mom. And I think this is the whole idea, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to stop here and I will continue next time. Yeah, Hajar said it's translated to it's called The Outsider. Yes, absolutely. The Outsider, yeah. And the Stranger, yes. Yeah, 2 translations, 2 titles. And as I said, in Arabic, the same thing. Anyway, I will stop recording, and if you have any question, please.